All right, welcome to Business Bootcamp for Freelance Writers. I'm Kevin Corbley. This is my video blog and podcast series. And today I want to talk about something. I want to talk about things that surprised me about my freelance writing business. I thought I knew what to expect, but there were a lot of things that surprised me, both good and bad. And I want to talk about two of them, one of each today, one good, one bad. The good one was, this is kind of interesting. I went to work. When I quit my job to start my freelance writing business, I went to work in the same industry where I had been working full time for about 4 years previously. So I was already kind of well known, but certainly was not very high up the totem pole. And what really struck me was right after I started freelancing, and of course my name was on a lot of articles, so it got out there. But also there was a price tag attached to my work all of a sudden, kind of a high price tag. And I noticed that people started to really value my opinions and advice, certainly more than they did before. So, I mean, people like editors, people I used to work with, people at competing companies or that had competed with me before when I was employed before I started my business, they all started paying attention to what I said and actually started calling me, seeking advice or at least my opinions on things. And I thought that was pretty cool. But, I wondered how I could leverage it. Well, one day I was on the phone with a client, or I don't know if it was a client or just somebody in the industry, and they mentioned they had a job opening and asked if I knew anybody. Well, it just so happened I had been on the phone with a buddy, a guy I used to work with, just like the day before I was having that call. And he was in a tight spot, really needed a new job. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And I was able to get his resume, shipped it over to the person I was talking to on the phone. And within like a week, they hired my buddy. And that was a great thing. I couldn't believe it. And basically they hired, well, he was very qualified, no doubt about that. But, a lot of it was due to the fact that I had recommended him. Well, I thought that was great. And I started to look for opportunities like this. So when friends came to me and said, hey, I'm out of work, got laid off, or I got a bad situation at work, would you take my resume? I really started to take that seriously. And I've got a special file on my computer where I keep people's resumes. And I, again, really take it seriously, looking out for opportunities. And over the years, I have been able to hook people up with employers and employers with people, dozens of times. It's a great thing. There's nothing better to give somebody than a job. I didn't give it to them directly, but at least I played a role in it. It made me feel really good, and it made me feel like I was influential. So that was a really good thing, something different that I experienced. Now, the next thing wasn't so good. So here's what it was. I had been in business several years. I think about 10 years. And all of a sudden, some things happened to my business. Actually, I lost a couple of big clients in a short period of time. And my income took a really unexpected drop. And the reason that's odd is because, at least my thinking up till then was, well, every year your income gets higher, right? I mean, that's the way it worked when I was full-time employed. I got a little raise every year. And until that point with my freelance writing business, my revenue increased every year. Well, boom, all of a sudden it dropped off. And that was a real shocker and kind of, a slap in the face. And the reason it was particularly bad was I had really gotten lackadaisical with my work. I wasn't doing a particularly good job of prospecting for new work. Certainly didn't expect to lose two really big clients. So pretty simple. Well, really two lessons. One lesson is when you're self-employed, you really have to live below your means. You and your spouse really need to come to grips with that. It's a hard thing. Just make sure that you're not spending all the money. I mean, we hear that all the time, but boy, that sure put a fine point on it. And the second thing is, again, you have to keep prospecting all the time. It really drove that home for me. And as I say, this probably happened to me 15, 16 years ago, but man, I have not forgotten that situation. And I prospect, I look for new clients all the time. So there you go. Two things weren't expected, but now you know about them, so consider yourself forewarned. If you'd like some more information on the business of freelance writing, I hope you'll check out my website. It's www.writingbizcamp.com, and biz is B-I-Z. You can also follow me on Twitter at writingbizguru. So great. Thanks for joining me today. Hope this helps out. Until next time, keep on writing. Thanks.